The galaxy called it the Grand Spiral, a vast wheel of stars ruled by ancient powers. For 10,000 cycles, the spiral had been governed by the Concord of Species, an alliance of the strongest and oldest civilizations. Each race had its place. Each place was enforced by fleets that could crack moons and silence suns. Humans were not one of them. They were new, loud, short-lived. Their technology was clever but crude. Their worlds were few. Their history was violent and messy. Most of the galaxy agreed on one thing. Humans were interesting but not important. That belief would soon cost trillions of lives. The human exploration vessel Aegis drifted alone at the edge of Concord space. It was not large, not elegant, not terrifying. From a distance, it looked like a block of dark metal scarred by repairs and old battles. Its hull carried no glowing runes, no energy wings, no massive spinal cannons. Just layers of dull armor and quiet engines burning at minimum power. Inside, the bridge was silent except for breathing. Captain Elena Ward stood with her hands behind her back, eyes fixed on the star map floating in the air before her. Red icons marked hostile zones. Blue icons marked alien empires. Green icons marked trade lanes humans were not allowed to use. They were deep in forbidden space. "Signal received," said Commander Reyes, calm but tense. "Concord Patrol. Multiple species." "How many ships?" Ward asked. Reyes swallowed. 32. A low whistle came from the weapons officer. "That's excessive." Ward did not react. She had expected this. "Open a channel," she said. Full broadcast. The hologram shimmered. Then faces appeared. Insects with jeweled eyes. Tall crystal beings glowing with inner light. Massive scaled creatures wrapped in gold armor. And at the center, floating above them all, was High Arbiter Threxiel of the Valari, ancient, calm, and utterly confident. Threxiel spoke first. "Human vessel," the Arbiter said, voice smooth as cold glass. "You have crossed 17 restricted borders. You are trespassing in Concord space without authorization." Ward stepped forward. "This is Captain Elena Ward of the United Earth Coalition ship Aegis," she said clearly. "We request diplomatic passage and formal recognition." The alien delegates reacted immediately. Laughter. Clicking. Color flashes of amusement. Threxiel raised one long limb and silence fell. "Recognition?" the Arbiter asked. "Your species has existed in space for less than 300 cycles. You command one ship. You possess no protector species. No client empires. No seat." Ward met his gaze. "We are not asking for charity," she said. "We are asking for fairness." A crystalline alien leaned forward. "Humans do not understand fairness," it chimed. "You understand conflict." Another voice, deep and mocking, "And you lose most of those." The bridge crew stiffened. Ward raised a hand slightly, keeping them still. "Captain," Threxiel said gently, "the Concord has already decided. Humanity will remain a minor power. You may trade under supervision. You may explore under limitation. But you will not expand. You will not arm beyond approved thresholds. And you will not challenge the balance." "And if we refuse?" Ward asked. Threxiel's many eyes narrowed. "Then your ship will be seized. Your technology studied. Your crew detained. Peacefully, of course." Behind the Arbiter, the alien fleets shifted. Weapons powered up. Space itself seemed to tense. 32 ships. All larger than Aegis. All bristling with weapons that could tear it apart in seconds. Reyes whispered, "Orders, Captain?" Ward did not look away from the hologram. "We refuse," she said. The alien reaction was immediate and absolute. Then anger. "You are one ship," Threxiel said, voice hardening. "One fragile species. You cannot fight the Concord." Ward smiled. "We're not here to fight the Concord," she said. She tapped a control on her wrist. "We're here to test it." The Aegis vanished. Not jumped. Not warped. It vanished. Alarms exploded across the alien fleets. Sensors screamed useless data. Space folded strangely, then snapped back. The human ship reappeared, behind the patrol line. Before anyone could react, a single human projectile launched. No energy glow. No warning pulse. Just a small, dark object accelerating beyond known limits. It passed through 3 alien ships in a straight line. They did not explode. They simply stopped existing. Silence fell across the channel. Threxiel stared, unable to hide fear. "What was that weapon?" the Arbiter whispered. Ward leaned closer to the camera. "That," she said calmly, "was a warning. The Aegis powered its engines. And this, Ward continued, is your first chance to listen. Far away, deep within Concord space, ancient observers began to realize something terrible. The humans had not come begging. They had come measuring. Shock spread through Concord space faster than any signal. The 3 destroyed patrol ships had not exploded. They had not left wreckage or radiation or debris. They had simply ceased to exist, erased as if reality itself had rejected them. That terrified the galaxy more than fire ever could. Within hours, the Grand Concord Council was summoned. A rare emergency session. Representatives from 76 species appeared as towering holograms inside a chamber the size of a small city. Stars glowed beneath the transparent floor. Ancient banners floated in artificial gravity. At the center hovered High Arbiter Threxiel, his composure cracked but intact. The human ship escaped, Threxiel announced. Its weapon violates multiple physical doctrines. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A massive reptilian lord slammed his tail against the floor. Then destroy it. No single vessel threatens the Concord. A thin avian diplomat tilted its head. Yet it already has. A crystalline intelligence pulsed brighter. The humans hid this capability. For what purpose? To gain leverage, Threxiel said. And now they have it. A younger species, newly admitted, spoke hesitantly. Perhaps we underestimated them. Silence followed. Then laughter. Underestimation was the Concord's foundation. They had survived 10,000 cycles by knowing exactly who mattered. Humans did not. Or so they believed. Far from the council chamber, the Aegis moved through folded space, leaving no detectable trail. Inside, tension hummed beneath disciplined calm. Enemy fleets mobilizing, Reyes reported. Multiple empires. They're calling this a containment action. Ward nodded. Of course they are. Lieutenant Hale leaned back in his chair. We just erased 3 capital ships and they still think we're bluffing. Ward's expression hardened. They don't think in terms of escalation, she said. They think in hierarchies. And we're supposed to be at the bottom. She turned to the tactical display. Dozens of red shapes forming a tightening net. They won't listen until something breaks their worldview. The first real battle happened near the Calrex trade corridor, one of the busiest arteries in the galaxy. The Concord had chosen it deliberately. A show of force. 20 warships from 5 species waited in formation, weapons powered, shields overlapping. Millions of civilians watched through delayed broadcasts. The message was clear. This is what happens when a minor species forgets its place. The Aegis arrived without warning, sliding into real space at the center of the formation. Gasps echoed across the galaxy. Human vessel, boomed an alien commander, scales flashing threat colors. Power down and surrender. Ward opened a channel. No, she said simply. The alien ships fired. Energy lances crossed space in blinding arcs. Enough firepower to crack planets. The Aegis vanished again. The beams tore through empty vacuum. Then the human ship reappeared above the formation. Now, Ward said. Human weapons activated, not with brilliance but with silence. Gravitational distortions bloomed like invisible storms. Alien shields collapsed as if turned off by unseen hands. Hulls bent inward, crushed by localized gravity wells. Ships screamed. Not metaphorically. Literally. Alien vessels broadcast distress signals as spacetime itself folded them into twisted knots. In less than 90 seconds, 12 warships were disabled. Not destroyed. Disabled. The survivors fled. Across the Concord, panic replaced arrogance. Back in the council chamber, chaos erupted. They spared them, shouted one delegate. Why? Demanded another. Threxiel's voice cut through the noise. Because humans do not fight like us. He turned slowly, eyes dim with something dangerously close to respect. They are sending a message. What message? A warlord snarled. Threxiel answered quietly. That they can end us, or choose not to. On the Aegis, medics monitored alien survivors remotely, stabilizing life signs through captured systems. Hale frowned. We could have wiped them out. Ward shook her head. Dead enemies don't talk. Reyes studied incoming transmissions. His eyes widened. Captain, multiple species requesting private channels. Not the council. Individual empires. Ward allowed herself a small smile. They're afraid of being on the wrong side. The first to speak was a merchant prince from a neutral species. We were told humans were reckless, the prince said. But this is restraint. We learned restraint the hard way, Ward replied. On our own world. Another transmission came in. Older. Colder. This is the Jathel Dominion, a voice hissed. We propose an alliance. Ward stiffened. The Jathel were infamous. Ruthless conquerors. Even the Concord feared them. No, she said immediately. Refusal would be unwise. Ward leaned closer to the camera. We didn't come to replace one tyrant with another, she said. We came to change the rules. The channel cut. Reyes exhaled slowly. That might have consequences. Ward stared at the stars. So will everything else, she said. Deep within an ancient observation array, older than most civilizations, something stirred. Artificial minds that had watched the rise and fall of empires recalculated probabilities. Humanity's projected survival curve, once shallow and brief, spiked upward violently. Annotations appeared. Species classification, re-evaluation required. Threat index, unknown. Potential outcome, galactic disruption event. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy felt something new. Not fear of destruction. Fear of change. The Concord did not panic openly. It adapted. Fear, after all, was not a weakness among ancient species. It was a tool. Within days of the Carex disaster, a new narrative spread across the Grand Spiral. Carefully worded. Calm. Reassuring. The human ship was an anomaly. Its weapons were experimental. Its restraint was proof of limitation, not mercy. Behind closed channels, however, the Concord prepared something far more dangerous than fleets. They prepared consensus. High Arbiter Threxiel addressed a private assembly of senior powers, those old enough to remember extinct galaxies. The humans seek leverage, Threxiel said. They seek to fracture us. A massive arachnoid queen clicked her mandibles. Then we offer them what they want. Confusion rippled. Recognition, she continued. A seat. Conditions. Threxiel nodded slowly. A trap, he said. The message reached the Aegis near a blue giant star, its radiation washing the hull in ghostly light. Official Concord summons, Reyes announced. They're offering humanity provisional membership. Hale snorted. That was fast. Ward did not smile. What are the terms? She asked. Reyes hesitated. Weapons limitations. Fleet inspections. No further expansion. And, he paused. A mandatory demonstration of our technology. Silence settled on the bridge. Ward folded her arms. They want to see everything. And if we refuse, Hale said, we're the villains. Ward closed her eyes briefly. Send acceptance, she said. The crew stared at her. Captain. We expected this, Ward said calmly. And so did Earth. The Concord Assembly World, Valor Prime, was a planet-sized monument to power. Floating cities. Star-sized energy collectors. Defensive rings visible from orbit. The Aegis was escorted by 50 warships. Every weapon tracked it. On the surface, Ward walked alone into the chamber. No armor. No guards. Just a dark uniform and steady steps. Alien eyes followed her from every angle. Threxiel greeted her with ceremonial grace. Captain Ward, he said. Welcome. Today marks humanity's rise. Ward met his gaze. Or its test, she replied. A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. The demonstration took place in a controlled void above Valor Prime. An uninhabited moon fragment was positioned as a target. Sensors, observers, and recording arrays surrounded it. Show us your weapon, commanded a warlord. Ward nodded once. Aegis, she said softly. Phase 1. A single human projectile launched. It did not erase the target. Instead, the moon fragment cracked, precisely, into 6 identical pieces. Each floated gently apart, perfectly balanced. Gasps echoed. Impressive, Threxiel said. But controlled. Ward raised a finger. That was us holding back, she said. Her voice carried. Now watch carefully. Because this is what you didn't detect. On the holographic displays something appeared. Threads. Invisible until now. They ran through space itself, webs of gravitational anchors, quantum beacons, and folded corridors. Human infrastructure. Not fleets. A network. We don't project power by mass, Ward said. We project it by position. The chamber erupted. You've ceded Concord space, shouted a delegate. Ward nodded. Quietly. For decades. Trade ships. Research missions. Probes you dismissed as primitive. Threxiel's composure finally broke. How extensive? He demanded. Ward looked around the chamber. Enough, she said, that if we activate Phase 3? She paused. Half your fleets would find themselves unable to move. Silence fell like a dead star. The trap snapped shut. Hidden weapons platforms ignited across Valor Prime's orbit. Concord ships powered up in unison. You overreached, Threxiel said coldly. You are still one species. Ward smiled sadly. And you, she said, still think this is about numbers. She tapped her wrist. Aegis, she said. Reveal. Across the galaxy, human beacons activated. Not weapons. Signals. Dormant alliances flared to life. Minor species. Trade unions. Fringe worlds crushed by Concord tariffs and force. Messages echoed across space. Humanity offers partnership. Humanity offers defense. Humanity offers a choice. Within minutes, dozens of systems declared neutrality. Then defiance. The Concord strength, unity, began to fracture. Threxiel stared in disbelief. You planned this, he whispered. Ward nodded. We learned something early, she said. Empires don't fall from invasion. She met his gaze. They fall when everyone stops believing in them. Alarm screamed. The Jathel Dominion fleet emerged from hyperspace without warning, massive, black, and hungry. They had chosen their moment. Not to defend the Concord, but to devour it. Threxiel turned slowly back to Ward. What have you done? He asked. Ward's voice was steady but heavy. We gave the galaxy its first real choice, she said. And now, she added, you're going to see what humans do when everything is on the line. The Aegis powered its engines. War had arrived. Not as the Concord planned it, but exactly as humanity had expected. War did not begin with a declaration. It began with silence. Across Concord space, command networks flickered. Jump lanes stuttered. Ancient navigation systems, unchanged for millennia, returned impossible data. Ships that had traveled the same routes for thousands of years suddenly found themselves lost. Humanity had pulled the floor out from under the galaxy. Above Valor Prime, chaos erupted. The Jathel Dominion fleet surged forward like a living storm, jagged hulls, biomechanical spines, weapons grown rather than built. They tore into Concord formations without hesitation, ripping apart warships that had once terrified entire sectors. Jathel vessels breaking formation, shouted a Concord commander. They're ignoring all hails. Of course they were. The Jathel did not negotiate. They consumed. High Arbiter Threxiel watched the tactical feeds with horror. Fleets meant to contain humans were being annihilated by something far worse. And the humans? They were not fleeing. The Aegis cut through folded space, appearing again and again at critical points, never staying long, never overcommitting. Redirecting gravity nodes, Reyes said rapidly. Jathel momentum vectors collapsing. On screen, a Jathel battleship lurched sideways, crushed by its own mass as local gravity inverted. Another drifted helplessly, engines screaming against space-time that refused to obey. Hale stared. We're hurting them. Ward nodded. Predators don't expect the terrain to fight back. Elsewhere, human sleeper networks awakened fully. On backwater worlds, human advisors stepped forward. On trade stations, human engineers unlocked systems they had helped design decades earlier. On fringe colonies, small human defense ships, once dismissed as escorts, activated and revealed weapons no one had ever scanned for. A message spread across the spiral, simple and unfiltered. Humanity does not demand loyalty. Only choice. World after world chose. The Concord tried to respond. Ancient war doctrines were activated. Planet cracker weapons powered up. Entire fleets were ordered to converge. And then, they stopped. Ships froze mid-jump. Commanders shouted in confusion as systems went dark. Not destroyed, but overridden. Human code flowed through alien networks like water through cracks. We don't break your machines, a human transmission echoed calmly. We ask them to listen. At the heart of the storm, Valor Prime burned. Jathel assault organisms pierced the planetary shields, landing in waves of screaming metal and flesh. Concord defenders fought desperately, dying by the millions. Threxiel turned towards Hologram, his ancient confidence gone. You said you came to change the rules, he said bitterly. This is annihilation. Ward's voice softened. No, she said. This is what happens when rules exist only to protect the powerful. She gestured to the chaos. We're trying to stop something worse. Then the galaxy felt it. A pressure. A tremor. Something massive shifted beyond known space. Human sensors lit up with warnings they had never seen before. Reyes stiffened. Captain, deep space anomaly. Outside all mapped regions. Hale frowned. Jathel reinforcements? Ward stared at the data. No, she said quietly. Something older. Across alien and human sensors alike, a structure emerged from darkness, vast beyond scale, built from impossible geometry. An observer construct. A relic from before the Concord. Before recorded history. The ancient watchers had awakened. A voice echoed across every frequency, translated instantly into every language. The balance has been disrupted. Even the Jathel paused. Threxiel fell to his knees. The judges, he whispered. They were myths. The voice continued. Humanity. Explain. Every fleet. Every world. Every mind listened. Ward stood straight. We didn't start this war, she said. We exposed it. Pause. Your actions threaten galactic stability. Ward did not flinch. So did yours, she replied. The construct processed. Time itself seemed to hesitate. Your species is inefficient. Short-lived. Emotion-driven. Ward smiled faintly. And yet, she said, here we are. The Jathel attacked the construct. It was a mistake older than memory. Energy vanished against its surface. Ships collapsed into nothing. In seconds, the Dominion's spearhead was gone. Fear swept the battlefield. The ancient voice spoke again. The Jathel are removed. Across the galaxy, Jathel fleets went dark. Erased. Ward closed her eyes. She had hoped it wouldn't come to this. Threxiel looked up slowly. What will they do to us? He asked. Ward met his gaze. That depends, she said, on what you do next. The observer construct turned its attention fully to humanity. You have altered the pattern, it said. Why should you continue? Ward took a breath. Because stagnation is just extinction that takes longer, she said. Silence. Then, demonstrate. The construct opened a gateway. Not for weapons. For proof. The gateway the observer construct opened was not a doorway in space. It was a doorway in possibility. Beyond it lay a region of twisted light and fractured physics, a place where the laws the Concord relied upon simply loosened. Sensors failed. Time lagged. Cause and effect drifted. The ancient voice echoed once more. Demonstrate your worth. Captain Elena Ward felt the weight of every human life settle on her shoulders. She did not hesitate. Aegis, she said quietly. Open the archive. Across the bridge, holograms bloomed, records humanity had never shared with anyone. Wars fought on Earth. Near-extinction events. Climate collapse. Nuclear fire. Plagues. Silence. The observer watched. We nearly destroyed ourselves before we ever reached the stars, Ward said. Not because we were weak. Because we were divided. Images shifted. Reconstruction. Cooperation. The first unified fleets. Not perfect. Never perfect. But learning. We survived by adapting faster than our mistakes, Ward continued. That's what we bring to the galaxy. The construct processed silently. Survival is common, it replied. Dominance is not. Ward nodded. Then let us show you how we fight when extinction is the alternative. Within the gateway, a simulation formed. Not a test battle. A worst-case future. An extragalactic swarm, vast, consuming, endless, descended upon the spiral. Even the observer's records labeled it terminal. The construct spoke. This scenario has a 99.9% extinction probability. Ward's jaw tightened. Run it, she said. Humanity entered the simulation. Not with one ship, but with strategy. Human fleets appeared, not massive, not beautiful, but countless, modular, adaptive. They broke apart, reformed, sacrificed themselves without hesitation to buy seconds, minutes, advantages. Human AIs coordinated at speeds alien minds could not follow, but always with human oversight. Emotion and logic fused. Human weapons did not overpower the swarm. They starved it. Supply lines collapsed. Energy flows were redirected. Entire stars were induced into controlled instability, not destroyed but denied. The swarm slowed. Adapted. So did humanity. Every loss fed the next tactic. Every defeat sharpened the response. The observer's processing cores flared. This rate of adaptation exceeds projection. Ward's voice was calm. We don't aim to win cleanly, she said. We aim to win eventually. The simulation ended. The swarm was gone. The galaxy remained. Probability of survival, 62%. For the first time the observer paused. Across real space battles still raged. Concord fleets, confused, fractured, struggled to respond as human-coordinated allies stabilized entire sectors. Human ships absorbed fire meant for weaker worlds. Human engineers restored alien infrastructure mid-battle. Human medics treated wounded of every species. A transmission spread, unencrypted. We are not your rulers. We are not your gods. We are the ones who will stand when the dark comes. Worlds listened. Worlds believed. High Arbiter Threxiel watched the human-led counteroffensive unfold. You could rule us, he said quietly to Ward's hologram. No one could stop you. Ward's eyes hardened. We tried ruling ourselves once, she said. It almost killed us. She leaned closer. We don't need subjects. We need partners. The Observer Construct spoke again. Humanity demonstrates unacceptable resilience. Ward smiled tiredly. We call that hope, she said. A long silence followed. The decision rendered. The construct's massive form began to change, unfolding layers unseen since ancient wars. The Concord is dissolved. Shock rippled across every world. A new stewardship model is required. The construct turned fully toward humanity. Humanity will assume provisional guardianship. Threxiel fell to his knees. Ward's breath caught. Guardianship, she repeated. That's not what we asked for. It is what you prepared for, the Observer replied. Across the galaxy, ancient systems powered down. Control nodes transferred. Authority shifted. Not by conquest. By consensus enforced by inevitability. On the Aegis, the crew stood in stunned silence. Hale whispered, We just became the adults in the room. Ward closed her eyes. God help us, she murmured. Far beyond the spiral, something watched. Something vast. Something patient. Humanity's rise had not gone unnoticed. And the final test had not yet begun. Guardianship changed everything. Overnight, ancient control systems responded to human authorization. Trade routes reopened under new rules. Fleet movements required human-mediated consensus. Conflicts that had burned for centuries stopped. Not because humanity demanded peace, but because everyone realized humanity could enforce it. And that terrified the galaxy. On Earth, emergency councils ran without sleep. No celebrations. No triumph. Only wait. We didn't plan to inherit the galaxy, one delegate said hoarsely. But we did plan to survive it, another replied. The distinction mattered less every hour. In Concord space, resistance formed quietly. Not fleets. Ideas. Ancient species whispered that humans were too emotional. Too unpredictable. Too young to hold the balance. One name spread in secret. The Continuance. A coalition of old powers who believed stability meant control, and control meant removing humanity before it was too entrenched. They did not attack openly. They learned from humans. The first warning came as a ship went missing. A human diplomatic cruiser vanished between two secure nodes. No debris. No signal. Just absence. Reyes brought the report to Ward. That corridor was locked, he said. Only Guardian-level access allowed. Ward's face darkened. Then someone else has Guardian-level access. The continuance revealed itself with precision. Simultaneous uprisings across 12 sectors. Coordinated sabotage of human-maintained infrastructure. Assassination attempts on human envoys. And worse, human technology began appearing in enemy hands. They've reverse-engineered our early systems, Hale said grimly. The stuff we shared for transparency. Ward clenched her fists. We trusted them, she said. Yes, Hale replied softly. And they noticed. The Observer Construct reactivated. Internal conflict detected. Ward addressed it from the Aegis. This is the cost of guardianship, she said. You don't get obedience. You get responsibility. The construct paused. Responsibility increases failure probability. Ward smiled without humor. Welcome to being human. The continuance struck at Kepler Reach, a mixed-species system that had embraced human stewardship early. Civilian stations burned. Planetary shields failed. A message broadcast from the attackers echoed coldly. The galaxy does not belong to one species. Ward watched the feeds in silence. Then she gave the order she had hoped never to give. Authorize Apex Protocol. The bridge went still. Hale whispered, Once we do this, there's no going back. Ward nodded. I know. Apex Protocol was not a weapon. It was a revelation. Across the galaxy, human systems unlocked their final layer. Not hidden fleets. Not superweapons. Unity. Human minds, volunteers only, linked through quantum interfaces, forming strategic collectives capable of processing futures faster than any AI or ancient construct. Not hive minds. Shared purpose. Shared pain. Shared resolve. Ward joined them. She felt millions of thoughts brush her own: fear, hope, love, grief. Humanity. At Kepler reach, space folded. Human ships arrived in numbers the galaxy had never seen, built not for intimidation but endurance. They did not annihilate the attackers. They isolated them. Communication cut. Supply lines collapsed. Escape vectors vanished. The Continuance's fleets found themselves trapped inside their own planning. Ward spoke across all channels. "This ends now," she said. "Stand down." A reply came, bitter and proud. "You've proven our point," the Continuance leader said. "No species should hold this power." Ward's voice cracked, just slightly. "Then help us carry it," she said. Silence. Then weapons fire. The battle was brutal. Human ships took hits meant for civilian stations. Human crews stayed at their posts as hulls breached, sealing compartments by hand. Losses mounted. Ward felt each one through the collective. Tears streamed down her face, but her voice did not waver. "Hold," she said. "Hold the line." And humanity did. Finally, the Continuance broke. Their leaders captured. Their fleets disarmed, not destroyed. The galaxy watched as humans refused revenge. Instead, they offered trials. Open ones. Fair ones. The ancient species were judged by a council that included humans, former Concord members, and liberated worlds. For the first time, justice was not ancient. It was earned. Afterward, Ward stood alone on the Aegis observation deck, staring at the stars. Threxiel joined her, older, quieter, changed. "You could have ruled through fear," he said. Ward nodded. "Yes." "Why didn't you?" She looked at the galaxy they now guarded. "Because fear doesn't last," she said. "But choice does." The observer construct transmitted one final assessment. Humanity remains unstable. Humanity remains dangerous. Humanity remains necessary. Ward allowed herself a small, exhausted smile. "High praise," she said. But deep beyond the stars, something ancient and vast had been watching humanity's ascent. And it was no longer patient. The warning came too late to stop it. Beyond the edge of mapped space, beyond even the observer constructs, something moved. Not an empire. Not a swarm. A silence. Stars dimmed without explosion. Civilizations vanished without battle. Entire regions became empty. No radiation, no debris, no echoes. Just absence. The observer construct broke its centuries-long reserve. "This entity predates us," it transmitted. "We retreated from it." That alone froze the galaxy. Ward stood on the bridge of the Aegis, listening as reports poured in. 3 systems gone. No survivors. Nothing to fight. Hale whispered, "How do you fight nothing?" Ward closed her eyes. "You don't," she said. "You endure it." The silence was not malicious. It was inevitable. A cosmic correction, erasing complexity to restore balance. It fed on energy, structure, meaning. The more advanced the civilization, the faster it disappeared. The observer spoke again. "Probability of total galactic extinction, 97%. Threxiel bowed his head. "So this is how we end," he murmured. Ward straightened. "No," she said. "This is how we try." Humanity convened in minutes. No politics. No hesitation. A single question. "What are you willing to give?" The answer was unanimous. Everything. The plan was not elegant. It was human. The silence erased complexity. So humanity would become simple. Not lesser. Focused. Across the galaxy, human systems powered down. Non-essential networks shut off. Cities dimmed their lights. Fleets reduced themselves to minimal function. Humanity shed excess. Billions volunteered to leave the apex collective, reducing cognitive complexity across the species. The galaxy watched in disbelief. "You're weakening yourselves," an alien envoy pleaded. Ward's reply was calm. "No," she said. "We're becoming harder to erase." The Aegis led the final stand. At the edge of the silence, space-time unraveled. The universe itself seemed tired. Ward addressed every species. "This isn't about winning," she said. "It's about proving something matters enough to last." The silence advanced. Humanity did not fire. They anchored. Human gravity networks locked reality in place. Human ships sacrificed themselves to stabilize space-time, one by one, holding back the unraveling with sheer persistence. The Aegis trembled. Reyes shouted, "Hull integrity failing." Ward nodded. Hold, she said softly. The silence met something it had never encountered. Refusal. Humanity did not resist violently. They resisted continuously. Every erased ship was replaced. Every lost mind was mourned, but the line never broke. The observer construct watched, stunned. They do not flee. Threxiel whispered, they cannot be discouraged. At the heart of the storm, Ward made the final choice. Aegis, she said, voice steady, initiate core lock. Hale turned to her, eyes wide. That will bind the ship, and you, into the gravity network. Ward smiled gently. That's the point. She opened a final channel. To every species, she said, this is what humans are. The Aegis became an anchor, its mass, its drive, its crew woven into spacetime itself. The silence slowed, then stalled, then changed. For the first time, it hesitated. The observer spoke, awed. The silence is adapting to you. Ward's voice was faint now. Good, she whispered. That means it noticed. The galaxy held its breath. The silence recoiled. Not destroyed. Repelled. Pushed beyond the edge of existence where it could not feed on meaning that refused to disappear. Stars flared back to life. Systems returned. The universe continued. The cost was immense. The Aegis was gone. So was Captain Elena Ward. Humanity mourned, not in silence but in unity. Across the spiral, monuments rose, not to conquest but to persistence. The observer construct delivered its final verdict. Humanity is incompatible with extinction. Years later, a child on a distant world asked an elder, why do humans let? The elder smiled. Because when the universe tried to erase us, he said, they taught it how to fail. And somewhere, in the fabric of spacetime itself, the echo of a human ship held the line, forever.